I listen up, man, because this is a key, crucial component that you must come to understand along your own individual journey of practicing semen retention and the path of celibacy. Beware of the dangers of overdosing on masculine energy. Yes, sir, let me say that again for the people in the back. Listen up. Beware of the dangers when it comes to overdosing on masculine energy while you are practicing semen retention and you're on the path of celibacy. And you might be wondering, okay, man, what the fuck does that even mean, overdosing on masculine energy? What is the optimal dose? Am I okay? Am I gonna die? Am I gonna OD? Well, relax. Relax. Relax, my guy. Because it's time for your boy to break this bitch down real quick like a brick for y'all. Now, what you have to understand is before venturing on this whole journey of semen retention and celibacy, 9 times out of 10, most men are completely drained and depleted of their masculine life force energy, their true essence. So when they hop on semen retention, when they practice celibacy, they get back to at least baseline. Bare minimum, they get to baseline, where they were truly supposed to be operating at. But where the dangers reside is when you go beyond that without actually understanding how to go and use your energy properly. So you see, even on a biological, hormonal level, when you are constantly releasing your seed, you are upping a hormone called prolactin, which is making you act more feminine. It is literally upping your estrogen as well. Every time you release, people say, oh man, when you watch porn, when you jack off, when you do this, testosterone raises. Testosterone raises for a very short, minimal amount of time, and the prolactin raises much longer duration than that. And that's why you feel drained, depleted, depressed after you release your seed. When you're constantly releasing your seed as a slave to your senses. I'm not saying that's gonna happen if you release your seed when you wanna have a kid. No. You go in there with a purpose. You're not just doing it for small seconds of pleasure. So, right now, most men are operating like females. That's just a dead ass truth. Most men are bitches. Most men are operating with a feminine state of mind. They're not actually tapping into their true masculine essence. So when you finally break free from that and you get back to baseline, this is why it feels much better when you're not releasing your seed as much. When you're practicing semen retention, when you're actually using your sexual energy as an advantageous tool rather than a part of your own demise. You tap back into your true essence. You tap back into your ultimate states. But where it can go haywire, when it can get dangerous, is when you let that consume you. This is something I talked about in some of my previous videos. One video that we just dropped recently, talking about don't let semen retention become your new religion, and another one that we did a couple months ago maybe, about saying don't let semen retention make you an egotistical weirdo. The reason why this happens is because you have now taken that masculine energy that you were missing and completely overdosed on it. You went from one side of the spectrum to a complete other side of the spectrum. You went from being a feminine man to an overly masculine man. And as a man, I'm not telling you got to be more quote-unquote feminine. But what I am saying is you have feminine qualities to you, feminine energy to you. You might be 70-30, 80-20, 90-10, but you don't want to be 100% one way and you don't want to be 100% the other way. Are you picking up what the fuck I'm putting down? This is what happens when you practice semen retention just thinking that you can practice semen retention and everything is great if you just repress your sexual energy. This is what I mean by you overdose on masculine energy. You repress that sexual energy and it becomes so boiled up to the point where you have anger all the time. You always think that people are looking out to get you. you thinking that you are better than everyone because you're not nutting. You see how foolish that sounds? I don't care if you nut 90 times a day versus the guy who hasn't nutted in 9 years. Does that person who hasn't nutted in 9 years is not better as a soul, as a spirit than anybody else? They might be more connected to their soul than the other person, but that doesn't mean that they're better. You have the same potential, spiritually speaking. It's manifested obviously in different ways, different forms, different shapes and outcomes. But at the end of the day, they both have the ability to tap into their higher spiritual essence or fall back down into the demise of their lower animalistic nature. It's a choice at the end of the day. But when you allow that masculine energy to just pump up and inflate your ego to no extent, that's when this practice of celibacy and semen retention can become dangerous. This is why I said it's not for every man. There's another video on this channel talking about why it's not for every man. If you just want to quit porn, if you just want to get women, if you just want to do, I don't think this is the right practice for you. Maybe, yes, of course, some form of sexual discipline is. But what we talk about on this channel is a much more in-depth and much more internal journey, an internal alchemical journey of purifying yourself from within in order to access your divinity and access and ignite your spiritual spark that resides within. That's what we're focused on. We're not doing semen retention just for the physical benefits or the mental. Those are the surface levels and those are great. But when you actually are using it as a source for your spiritual evolution, this is what the ancient sages, the ancient mystics, the sadhus, the monks, all of them were talking about. And this is what we're doing right here on this channel, where we're taking that information, the esoteric science of self-mastery, and making it more practicalized for the modern man to apply it into his life, just like yourself. So for you guys who don't want to just practice retention just for the sake of retention, you got to realize that if you're not applying other practices in a overall culmination of your practices of semen retention, you're not meditating, you're not finding a mental outlet, you're not finding a spiritual outlet, you're not using a physical outlet, you're just, maybe just a physical outlet, you're just working out. This shit's gonna get to your brain, it's gonna get to your ego, it's gonna inflate it, because masculine energy is now being retained and absorbed, but also being repressed. You need to balance it out with things. This is why someone commented a while back talking about, do I need to do all these Eastern practices to be able to actually see the true benefits of celibacy and semen retention? I said, basically, yeah, you have to. Am I saying you have to do yoga? Nope. Am I saying you have to do pranayama? Nope. Am I saying that you got to do all these Eastern labeled practices? No. But what I am saying is meditation, which, first of all information, all this mystic knowledge originates from the East. So whether you like it or not, that shit's coming from the fucking East. And if you want to take it another level, humankind originated from the East. All that stuff spread out to the West. So even if you think you're not practicing Eastern practices, you're taking bits and pieces from them, whether it's prayer. In the Christian concepts, meditation is called contemplative prayer. So even the bird knows. You hear that? It's called contemplative prayer. If that makes you feel a little bit better, because you might maybe be living in doctrines and dogmas of, oh man, I can't do this, oh man, I can't do that, then okay, change the label. But what I am saying, at the end of the day, you need those outlets, you need those practices to pair along with semen retention, or this shit's gonna pump up your ego to the next extent. Any spiritual practice, what it's really trying to do is help you go beyond the ego, help you go beyond the mind, help you go beyond the body. When you practice semen retention, you are going beyond your body and your base animalistic instincts. But what helps you go beyond the mind, beyond the ego, is other practices that you pair along with semen retention, because semen retention and celibacy gives you the fuel to actually funnel towards those practices. They work synergistically. And without that, you're gonna be a hothead, overdosing on masculine energy, thinking that you're better than everybody because you haven't nutted. You see how stupid that fucking sounds? And I'm not saying that I haven't gone through this myself. When you first start practicing retention, you get back the power that you've been missing so long. You're like, damn, man, I feel like I'm just on another level. But once you actually take a step back and zoom out, this was your level this entire time. You just have been depleting and draining yourself from ever actually being able to charge up your battery to that point. Now that you've disconnected that leak, that drain, the phone battery is back to 100%. But where the issue comes into play, if you charge your phone for too long, you charge your computer for too long, it's not good for it. It's too much voltage, too much energy. It can literally fry out the system. And what's happening on your own internal system is it's frying out on masculine energy. You need to balance it with things that keep you grounded, with things that keep you in alignment and balance. Why do you have to meditate? Well, because meditation allows you to go beyond your thoughts and become the observer. If you just think that, oh man, I'm the shit, because you're practicing retention and you relapse and you go back to your old ways, did you really make any progress internally, or was just like a coping mechanism for you to be able to say, oh man, if I do this, I'll become my best version? No, it's a tool for you. It isn't the actual best version of you, if that makes sense. That masculine energy is like fire that, if it's not contained properly, is gonna start up a whole fucking inferno. If you actually learn how to contain it properly, it becomes a flamethrower. You can actually pinpoint where you want to use that energy, towards your business, towards this, towards that. But you have to be able to learn how to harness it. And how you harness it is by bringing a little bit of water, the feminine elements. You're not so go all the time. Another video that we talked about on this channel, can you smoke weed on semen retention? I talked about how that is an act of infusing feminine energy into you. I'm not saying you should smoke weed. I'm not saying you shouldn't smoke weed. But that's what it's for. That's what it helps you with, or can derail you with, if you're overdosing on feminine energy and you just keep smoking that Mary Jane. Hence the name, Mary Jane, Mother Nature, feminine energy. You're gonna be stuck in a Lamborghini and you're never actually revving the engine. But when you're in the Lamborghini and you're just practicing semen retention without anything else, you are redlining the fuck out of your engine. You got to give it time to sit back in the lower gears. You can't be go all the time, and you can't be stop all the time. And when you practice semen retention, you're naturally going to become go. Ego. Unless you balance it with spiritual practices. This is why, again, you cannot expect to just be like, oh, I'm going to practice semen retention, everything is going to go fine. It's not. It can be very dangerous, and it isn't for every man. These higher levels, these higher streaks. The true premise of this practice is to help you become a divine vessel for God, help you unlock your mind, purify your body, and awaken your soul. If you're just doing it just for the sake of improving your body, improving the material, this is when things get out of whack, get out of alignment, and they can go haywire. This is when people get this whole feeling of, man, I feel all my energy repressed. I just want to beat everyone the fuck up. Women keep looking at me. There's succubus, Jezebel, blah, blah. Dude, you're fucking crashing out, my boy. You're fucking crashing out. And you're wondering, hey man, how do you get to 4 years of celibacy and this and that? Well, it's because you have to add on other practices along with that. Stuff, again, that we talk about on this channel, on the main channel, on the private Patreon community. Man, shout out to the fucking private Patreon community. Listen. Look. You listening? If you have not joined up into the private Patreon community yet, and you're interested in these deeper topics, these deeper subjects that go in depth and in detail to this overall esoteric science of self-mastery. Look in the mirror, because you're doing yourself, that guy that's looking back to you in the mirror, a huge motherfucking disfavor. Not me, the guy in the mirror, yourself. Because within there, bro, we're unpacking layers upon layers with exclusive videos on this overall journey of self-mastery, how you can elevate your mind, body, and soul to its highest potential. Talking about stuff from semen retention, psychology, spiritual practices, all that good stuff, man. And along with that, we got full guides about all these topics, in-depth occult lecture about all these topics. And most importantly, if you tap into the Philosopher's Circle, aka the highest membership tier group within the private Patreon community, you'll get access to our private group chat where we host our bi-weekly mastermind live calls. Yes, sir, 2 live calls each and every single month, bi-weekly. Come on now, are you picking up what the fuck I'm putting down? Where you hop on a call with me, as well as a community of like-minded men who are also on the same journey towards self-mastery, who are also understanding that they ain't trying to overdose on masculine energy while practicing retention. They want to use celibacy and semen retention as a tool for their overall mental, physical, and spiritual evolution. They ain't trying to crash out. And they're actually adding in those practices, adding in those tools, tips, and techniques that we discuss over on the Patreon to be able to actually help them exceed beyond their plateaus that they may have had before because of their perspective was warped by maybe other semen retention content creators telling you that's all you need. And you can tell by the way that they carry themselves, they're overdosing on masculine energy. You need to have that balance, my boy. You need to have that balance. Not all the way this way, not all the way that way. Once you go from being a depleted Coomer back to your natural self, you want to keep that natural self and keep it moving upwards rather than going all the way over to the other extreme where you become from the depleted Coomer to the crashed out masculine alpha top G wannabe. You know what I mean? So if you want to be around a community of like-minded men, we're going to hold you accountable along that journey. We're going to give you advice along that journey. We're going to give you the tools, tips, and techniques to actually make that happen. Then the Philosopher's Circle is for you, my boy. Check out the links posted in the pinned comment of this video, because within there, you'll be able to get access to our other links, which provide our other services, such as application forms for our personalized coaching program. If you're looking to work with me one-on-one for the overall duration of the program to help you uncover and break the bonds that are holding you back from achieving your highest potential mentally, physically, and spiritually, so you can uncover your true purpose, your true path, your true spiritual duty, aka your dharma. That's what we got going on with the personalized coaching program. There's other links to the consultation calls if you just want to book a call with me, discuss your situation, see how we can map out an overall protocol, a system to help you get back on track towards your true potential. We got weekly newsletters, a free community Discord server. Again, all that stuff is posted in the pinned comment of this video. Make sure you go run it up. But like I was saying, the stuff that we're talking about on this channel, on the main channel, the private Patreon community, with the people I'm working with one-on-one, during the consultation calls, in my coaching program, are the foundational elements you need to actually make this practice a successful journey for you. Rather than you feeling like you're fighting against everything, rather than making your ego seem like, oh man, everything is bad, I have to be completely, like you feel like you're in an anime. Some people I've noticed when they hop on semen retention, oh man, this urge is coming at me, I need to fucking do this spiritual aikido, fucking all, like, dude, calm down. You're overdosing on masculine energy. Oh man, I can tell who's practicing semen retention, who's a Kuma, who's not. Who cares? Or is that what you're doing it for? You're doing it for the purpose of connecting closer to the God that is within you. Breaking the chains, breaking the bonds that are keeping you a slave, a prisoner to your senses. That's what it's about. So, as a byproduct of that, you can awaken and connect back to the spirit, the higher self, the higher force, the higher faculties of your mind, body, and soul. Are you picking up what the fuck I'm putting down, my boy? You can't do that if you're depleted, and you cannot do that if you're overdosing on masculine energy. This is the whole concept of the great arcanum. You need to have the masculine mind and the feminine mind working together in order to produce the philosopher's stone, in order to produce the fruit of knowledge, in order to produce the fruit of gnosis. You need Adam and Eve working together. You need Shiva and Shakti working together. You need the left hemisphere of the brain and the right hemisphere of the brain working together, aka the male and the female, the positive and negative poles, Ida and Pingala, in order to produce the Sushumna channel, which is the conduit or the source or the connecting point from you, your mind, in the mental plane to the spiritual realms of reality, where you'll find and access all the information, wisdom, knowledge, and gnosis that you need in order to succeed on this path in life that leads you to liberation, that leads you to true fulfillment in life. You're not going to find that just by practicing semen retention, because it's going to pull you in complete extreme opposite of being a depleted Kumar. You're going to be pure Adam because you were pure Eve before. You need to have that balance. This is a very powerful practice on a psychological and spiritual level, as well as a physical, biological, and hormonal level. It's like steroids almost. You got to balance that out. You can't just take TRT. You got to take the other things, you know what I mean, to help you balance out the rest of your hormonal level. I'm not saying take steroids. I don't take steroids. As you can say, I ain't the biggest guy out there. But I still will beat your ass. Relax. Like, that same analogy comes into play. You are upping the dose of masculine energy. And once it gets past baseline, it becomes excess. And when it becomes excess, it goes right to where? Your ego. Excess ego. Depleted goes right to your feminine nature. Depleted goes all to your desires. Excess goes all to your ego. Look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. This is the dangers of practicing semen retention if you actually want to see it be fruitful for all aspects of your life. If you don't want to feel like you're repressing your energy. Oh man, I can't give up my sexual energy. That's how a lot of you guys are. Let's just be honest. And I'm not saying you're a bad person for doing that. I'm telling you that maybe you don't have the knowledge to actually understand how to balance it. And if you don't, well, your boys got you covered. Go check out the Art of Retention ebook on the main channel. Just search up how to succeed on semen retention. Go on the main channel for Light Fitness. There's a full guide, full video guide, breaking down everything you need along this journey in order to succeed. And within that video, you'll get access to the Art of Retention ebook, a free ebook that goes even more in depth and more in detail to all the different practices that you need to pair along with it, so you do not overdose on masculine energy, so you do not become a crazy crash out, so you do not burn yourself out with that masculine fire that was dampened and weakened before. You need to become an elemental bender, an alchemical bender of your own internal energies. You can't let one go run rampant while the other one is neglected. So within the practices that I laid out within that video guide, as well as the Art of Retention ebook, when it comes to pranayama techniques, meditation techniques, having a spiritual outlet, having a physical outlet, the diets, all that stuff are all tools and tips for you to be able to actually harness the power of your libido and leverage it to your advantage, rather than depleting yourself of it and rather than letting it take over and consume you. You want to be able to play with the fire, not let the fire just completely burn you. You want to be able to learn how to play with the water, not let the water completely drown you. It's all about the path of self-mastery. That's what we're talking about here on this channel, on the main channel, on the private Patreon community, of course. The path of self-mastery. This is what my coaching program is all about too as well. It's not about going one extreme or the other extreme. It's about learning how to balance all these aspects of life. And right now, if you're practicing semen retention and celibacy and you notice yourself getting that egotistical boost that's getting to excess, then it's time to learn how to actually get back dialed in to the other practices that are going to help you continue this progress. Because if you keep crashing out, burning out, eventually what are you going to go for? An escape route, which is through release. Your ego gets too inflated to the point where it needs to just pop. And where does it pop? Through release. So you never can understand what the higher level streaks, the higher level benefits of this whole practice really is. Because that doesn't come after 30 days, 40 days, 50 days. I'm not saying you should really care about your days and all that stuff. What I'm saying is the longer you retain, the more it becomes revealed. That's just the truth of the matter. The longer you work out, the more gains are made. More experience, more reps in the tank. And you can't get those reps in the tank if all you're trying to do is go completely the opposite way, where you become a slave to the masculine energy that becomes so overpowered to the point where you literally overdose on it. It does happen, and it might have already happened to you. Maybe it's happening right now. Trust me, I've been there, I've been through it, and I understand what helps you out of that. So go check out the full guide. Go check out the Art of Retention ebook, and look, man, if you're dyslexic, you're retarded, you're dumb as fuck, you can't read a book, your boy's got you covered with a full audio version of the Art of Retention ebook. Just go check out the main channel, Fulati Fitness, click playlist, and find the audio series. Pop it in while you're working, pop it in while you're walking, while you're driving, whatever it is. Get up on some motherfucking game so you ain't out here looking like a motherfucking lame. You dig what I'm saying? Come on, man, this is food for the brain. You want to be able to use semen retention, not let semen retention use you. God damn, let me say that again, because that's a bar. You want to be able to use the practice of semen retention rather than the practice of semen retention use you. You don't want to become a slave to semen retention, and you don't want to become a slave to your senses. You don't want to become a slave to feminine energy, and you don't want to become a slave to masculine energy. You want to be the one that wields it, the self. The self goes beyond that. That's why we're trying to master the self through the process of unlocking our mind, purifying our body, and awakening our soul. That's the whole path that we're looking forward to, man. That's what we're working towards each and every single day. Once you master the self, you master the game of life. Semen retention and celibacy is a part of that, in my humble opinion. But it has to be done properly. If you look back at these ancient texts, the occult wisdom, the esoteric teachings of the past, they weren't just saying, hey man, do 90 days of semen retention like these YouTubers and all that stuff talk about. They're telling you what you're doing it for, the practices you need to pair along with it, and giving you the knowledge of don't overdose on this bullshit, man. Don't go too extreme. Learn to balance it. Learn to master the self. Are you understanding? Are you understanding what I'm saying? This is the dangers of this practice when you let it consume you. Just like anything. Is food bad? Obviously not. But when it consumes you, you become overweight. Same thing with masculine energy. Is masculine energy bad? Absolutely not. But when it consumes you, you become overdosed on it. It's too much. It's frying out your system. This is why you feel so repressed, angry, and all this stuff. And funny enough, you're like, the only way I could relieve myself of all that is through wanking my meat, through chasing random women. Then boom, you're back in the cycle once again. How do you break out of that cycle? It isn't the right path, the left-hand path. It is the middle path, the middle pillar. Balancing the two. Yin and yang, Shiva and Shakti, Adam and Eve. Masculine and feminine energies working together in union to build up that channel for you to be able to actually continue this acceleration of your spiritual progress, where you start to open up and awaken your psychic glands, your spiritual senses, whatever you want to call it that. The female and the masculine need to be working together in order to create that channel. Just like how a female and a male needs to come together in order to create a new child. Those energies must be working properly within you. And as a man, you're never going to be fully on a physical level, on a material level, going to be balanced materially, masculine and feminine wise. you got dick and balls, man. I'm sorry to tell you, you ain't gonna be at that point, but I'm talking about psychologically and spiritually. Don't let this masculine energy completely pull you in that way, and don't let the feminine energy of being a complete depleted person pull you in complete opposite way. You need to be able to balance the two. And you might be wondering, okay, man, how do you balance it again when it comes to the feminine aspects? Well, it's not through releasing your seed, because that's like an overdose of feminine energy. It's not just through smoking weed, because that could be an overdose of feminine. It's through these spiritual practices, bro. It's through the acts of contemplation. It's through the acts of detachment. It's through the acts of being in the flow of life. Like water is flowing. Fire just goes, it wants to consume things. Water flows with things. Water, if you put it into a vase, it becomes the shape of the vase. When water goes into a bowl, it becomes the shape of the bowl. That's feminine energy. When you practice meditation, you detach from expectations. You detach from go, 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 go. You get more into the flow of life itself. And of course, we got beginner exercises within the Art of Retention ebook, within the audio series. But if you're looking to go more advanced and all that good stuff, check out the Patreon, bro. We got all the sauce. We got all the game. If you're looking to get more advanced with possibly working with me one-on-one where I really personalize it for you, shoot an application form. Links posted in the pinned comment of this video. Let's hook up a consultation call. At the end of the day, man, this is a powerful practice when used properly. As the old saying goes, with great power comes great responsibility. If you don't, you're gonna overdose on that power and it's gonna hit you like a fucking truck. It's going to burn you back because you never learned how to actually harness the fire. You're just like, okay, more fire, more fire, more fire. More is good, more is better, more is good, more is better. Until eventually that fire burns your goddamn house down. This is really happening while you practice semen retention and celibacy. And you'll notice it if you become more aware. Your ego inflating, your masculine energy rising through the roof, and you want to be able to harness it. You're not trying to dampen it. You're trying to learn how to control it. You don't know how to control it if you don't balance it with the other forces. This is the science of yoga. This is the science of self-mastery. This is the science of awakening your true potential. It isn't only done on the physical acts. It's also done on the psychological progress and the spiritual evolution that you make along the whole journey. So just keep that in mind, man. The semen retention, yes, it is a powerful practice. Very, very, very powerful practice. But it can be sometimes overpowered to the point where you overdose on it if you don't actually learn how to use it towards your advantage rather than it consuming you. So stay up on game, man. Because this boy out here in the field, in the flesh, dropping y'all that game so you guys can make these gains. And I'm out of here. Peace.